Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hidden Brick, where today we're going to build the LEGO Technic Mine Loader. This is set number 42049, 476 pieces. So it's kind of on the medium to smallish medium size set for LEGO Technic. LEGO Technic sets can be real big. I mean, there's sets that have thousands of pieces, like over 2,000-3,000 pieces. So considering this is only 476 pieces, means it's technically, or not technically, that's a bad pun, but it is on the smaller side of LEGO Technic. Much like LEGO Creator sets, this is a 2-in-1, so you could either build the model that you see on the front of the box, but there's also instructions to allow you to build this if you prefer. Now you can't build them at the same time, you have to use the same parts, so you have to disassemble one if you build the mine loader first. So just like the Creator 3-in-1s, like the houses and vehicles and animals, all those other multi model sets, this is just like those, except it's only 2-in-1. So dump everything out here, and you can see we have 4 large rubber tires. It's either spongy like rubber, because they are real rubber. And we have some instruction books. So for our main model, let me kind of fold these over a little bit. There's 2 instruction books, instruction book 1 and instruction book 2. And then you can see they give you instructions for the alternate model. So we're not going to use this because we're not going to build the alternate model. We're actually going to build what's on the front. And then you can see there's a medium size, kind of largest medium sticker sheet. So a lot of basic construction style stickers, you know, a lot of warning stripes. So that's our sticker sheet. And then all of our bags are unnumbered. Wait, hold on. Well, that's weird. So these are all unnumbered, but they give you a bag 1. And yeah, there's no bag 2, so that's kind of weird that they numbered bag 1 and not any of the others. But either way, with Technic, what we have to do is open all of the bags. And pro tip for building Technic is sort your pieces by part type, because you can see there's so many different parts that look extremely similar that it's really best off if you sort them before you start building. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to open all these bags up, sort them, and we can begin the build. Okay, we have everything dumped out of all the bags, sorted and ready to go. Basically, as you can kind of see, I have all the parts in their own individual piles based on part type. So we're going to begin with the build of this. Start with this H-frame piece. Start to put some friction pins on here. So as most everyone knows that have built a LEGO Technic set, you typically begin from the middle of the model and work your way out. So this is quite literally the very middle of the model. So we slide that all the way through. And we have 2 of these. And then each step of the model also calls out the parts required for that step. And for Technic builds, it's good practice to go ahead and pull all the parts for each step before you get too far into building it, because you may accidentally leave a part off. And I've done that before. And unlike a standard brick system, the Technic models have so many parts that are interlocking that if you miss a part and don't catch it within the next step or 2, then you're going to be in for some trouble, because you have to disassemble a lot of the model to try to get it back to where you can put that part on. Okay, so next is a couple more gears. Actually, just one more gear. This axle joiner. So that one goes there. So you can see we've got this little mini gearbox that we've created. Another axle joiner. Piece just goes there. Two thin lift arm, well, 4 thin lift arms. 8 of these 2 long red axles. And 2 of these pieces. So each one of these thin lift arms has an axle hole on the end. Let's see if we could slide these axles in, and I'm keeping it on the table because that will allow that axle to actually stop, because we don't want that going all the way through. I'll have to stop like that, and then we push this black part on there. Just like that. These pieces slide through on the underside. Take 4 more of the thin lift arms. Turn it over to make sure we didn't push any of those little axles through. So lastly, we're going to push these axles inside of each one of those little axle joiners. Put a half bushing on there to help hold it in place. That looks good so far. Okay, now that we have this built, we're going to put it to the side. We have a little sub build to do, and this is kind of the way Technic works as well, as you kind of build little modules and then attach them to the main model as you go. So this is one of those modules. Turn it this way because that's kind of the way it's oriented in the instructions. Three long. 2 of these, 1 of these, and a 5 long axle. You have to pay attention to the instructions because these holes have to be oriented a certain way, because it's easy to accidentally put it on like this and it looks kind of like the picture, but you notice that this hole is on the bottom, but according to the picture this actually needs to be like this. So just pay attention. See, now all of our holes are all lined up. So it's kind of a critical thing that everything lines up just how they show it in the instructions. Okay, so once again, another piece that has the holes all lined up. We have this long axle with a stop, and then we have this long, or this tan bevel gear. It goes in there. Have a yellow axle and a red bushing. Slide this through a bent lift arm. And this gets a gear on it. And this will slide right there. So you can see we're putting stuff in those holes, and if those holes weren't lined up right, then that wouldn't have been able to go in there. So we have two more of the red bushings. One will go here, and the other one will go back over here. Now we have this piece on there with another bushing. Try not to push them all the way on. You need a little bit of wiggle room. We have another tan bevel gear right there. Red axle, have an axle joiner, and then this axle with a non-friction pin. Another axle joiner, and these are two axles with friction pins. Put a pin joiner on and a friction pin. That piece will go there. So we bring over our main model here, and we are going to slide this piece in right there. So a lot of stuff going on here. Nothing's really kind of interlocking yet, and it does not form any type of discernible shape just yet. So we're just gonna go with it and hope that we're doing it right. All right, move that to the side, because we have another sub build. We have this 11 long lift arm that we're going to put friction pins in. Once again, paying close attention to the instructions to make sure the pins go in the right holes. It's really the only key with this part. Those go there. We have one more that'll go here, just one. We're not going to put one on this side just yet. We do have our first sticker. And they show this sticker going approximately right here. So it's kind of a diagram showing the claw that's open and then closed, picking up the little mine piece. Put that off to the side. Have another little sub assembly. This black bevel gear goes in there. Red bushing and another bevel gear. We have this long axle, but we need to put a gear in here before we slide it in, because this axle will interlock with the gear. So you're going to have to hold it in place, kind of line up the pinhole with the axle hole. And then once you slide it through, it all interlocks just like that. And then this piece will go here. We have a axle joiner there. And then it shows this piece sliding in like that. So now we have a little bit of stuff kind of interlocking. Still none of this other stuff kind of lines up with anything just yet. Let's put another bevel gear in here. Alright, so that starts to interlock some of the stuff. You see I could turn an axle over here and those gears are all turning. So it's kind of a moment of truth time when it's like you hope that everything that you've done so far has lined up, and when you turn it, it all works. Okay. So we're beginning another sub-assembly. This is going to be the little engine block piece. So we have a little frame here. We have these two little engine blocks that we are going to put some friction pins on. Attach that one, 2 more friction pins. I show it upside down like this. Now we have our little piston arms along with a camshaft style piece. Just like that. 4 long piece there. We have these 2 pistons that go there. Slide these inside of that little engine block. Now we need a piece to line up with it all. Take this axle, put one of these pin joiners on, along with a bevel gear. Give it a little bit of wiggle room. And this slides through and lines up with that little camshaft gear. So you can see now it's all interlocked. And those pistons actually move up and down. Oops, wrong ones. Should be using the 5 longs. Okay, so those both go like that. Two of those pieces. Okay. 2 more friction pins. And this piece slide through there and attach to the other side of the engine block. I have this little smaller frame piece. Kind of like the one we began with, but obviously a lot smaller. That goes there. So bring this over. Show it going there. It's not interlocked with anything just yet. But it shows us turning it around. Okay, so we have these yellow pieces here that have an axle hole in it. What we're going to do is slide 2 red axles through. That will more or less lock it in place. So that's our first one, and here's our second one. Right there. Now it's interlocked, and you can see when we turn this axle for the wheel that it rotates our engine piece. So once again, another moment of truth where hopefully everything lines up. And if you build it right, then those pistons should be moving when you rotate that. Okay, moving on to the next sub-assembly. Another 5-long axle. Some more of these axle pin joint pieces. Some 3-long friction pins. And some bent lift arms. Have some more friction pins. And 2 more of the bent lift arms. Now we take 4 of these pins with a axle joiner, and we just barely push them into the pinholes. We're not going to push them all the way through. So you don't want to see any of it sticking out over here. You just want them hanging out, kind of like I have them there. So what we're going to do is bring this guy over. Slide that on there. Now, once we have it on there, we can push these all the way through. So what they're doing is they're connecting with this frame piece that's kind of straddled in between it. So now all that looks good. We have our next lift arm. We're going to do some friction pins and some little pins with toe balls. Okay, with that done, slide this over that. Put our last axle joiner on here. Next we have this universal joint. Put 2 axles on, like that. Attach that to this axle joiner. So you can see it still turns. It's kind of good practice when you're building a Technic set is to make sure everything turns. Have a black bevel gear and one of these black pieces there. Move that to the side. We have another sub-assembly. Kind of see the pattern we're creating here of build all these little modules and attach them. So we have 2 back-to-back thin lift arms, and it creates a lot of clutch power when you try to push axles through. So these are actually kind of hard to push through, and I actually push them on a table to get it through there. Carefully line the holes up right for these. We have 2 more of the thin lift arms. Once again with the same axles. These black pieces are modified 2 long axles with a friction pin on the end. So those 2 pieces go like that. there. We have a red bushing here. We have another one of these bent lift arms with a 3 long friction pin. Turn it around. Push one of those pieces all the way through. More friction pins. You can see I'm able to find most all the parts pretty quickly because of the pre-sorting that I did. So it definitely makes for a quicker build, all things considered, because it's not a small set. If it was a smaller set, maybe you just dump all the parts out. All right, so we have this large turntable piece, and it comes in two parts like you see here. There's the black part that has the gear on it, and then there's the light bluish gray part that just turns inside of it. So we basically just line them up and push them on. This is one of those snap of no returns. Once it's on there, it's pretty much on there for life. There's these little black pieces here that is clipping onto this little rail here. So it's pretty much in there. So here we go. So pretty loud click. That's how you know it's in there. And I guess you could, I mean, try to get like some sort of tool to pry it off, but I mean, there's really nothing you could do with these without it connected anyway. So we're just gonna go with it like that. Take some more pieces here. So that goes like that. We'll push this in between the gray pieces there. And then we have the 3 long friction pins that will slide through like this. Okay. So we turn this over. On the black side, those pinholes, slide those in there. And we have 2 more friction pins on these, on this side. Turn it over. This is how they show it in the instructions. And we'll slide this right like that. Well, hold on a second. Something is not right, I see. I actually used the wrong lift arm. I need a longer one. So we're supposed to have the 13 long. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now it should work. Line that up. That lines up right there. Okay, now we're good. Save that part for when they call for it. So, have a few more pieces to add to it, and then we'll be able to connect it to the main model. Long. They give you a 1-to-1 diagram of these lift arms, so in case you're confused which one to use, you can line it up with the instruction book, which I failed to do for that long one. I just thought it looked right for some reason. These light bluish gray pins are non-friction pins. That means anything that's connected to it will move around pretty freely. Line all of that up. That goes there. Okay, they show this turned around. We're gonna rotate this up. We have this 11 long lift arm. Those both line up right there. Turn it back around. We put this other long lift arm on here. So you can see it lines up just like the other side, along with our friction pin there. We have 4 more of these pins, and just like before, we're just gonna barely push them through. We're not gonna push them all the way through until we get it on the model. And we have a red bushing here that also lines up with the other side. Okay, so we're going to take this axle that's on this universal joint and line it up with that hole. Make sure that it's in there. So that looks good. Turn the page. Just kind of set this down. So we have these 7 long lift arms, and everything's kind of loose right now, so I'm carefully trying to line everything up. That looks good. Fold these up, and these will slide all the way through, and they're interlocking with this black piece over here. That black piece basically is an axle joiner. You can see that's another one of our moment of truth pieces. Everything's lined up. So we turn this piece, and you can see the front end is turning. So that's our front end steering. That looks good. I have another red axle with 2 more of these universal joints, 1 on each end. So we connect it to this piece that we pushed all the way through. And we have this one hanging out on the front. Let's see, we have one of these parts with a axle in there, like this. We have this lift arm, and we have our second sticker. Looks like it goes approximately right here. So once again, it's kind of indicating directions of the functions. So slide that on there, attach this other piece on there. That on, have a thin bushing. Thin bushing, and then that piece. So we need to create 2 of those. That's our first one. Here's our second one. These will both clip on there. We have our non-friction pin. bring this over. We line this up with our pins that we didn't push all the way through, and then that's when we push them through. Everything should line up. We push it through, just like that. It kind of shows this just hanging up there, but we'll get it put on something here in a minute. All right, so this is going to be our claw element. Oops. This piece, like that. I just slid that onto the ground. Pick that up. Have this thin lift arm, kind of T-shape piece. The thin bushing, or half bushing, whatever you want to call it. That one goes there. Another half bushing here. And this red axle with a half bushing on. We have a worm gear. Another half bushing. Put that piece on there. And this will slide all the way through there. Now that it's on, we slide this red axle just a little bit further in. So you see it's kind of interlocked with that piece. And make sure it still turns, which it does. Okay, so this large gear. Put it on this axle with two of the half bushings. Just like that. Now we'll go there. That, okay, all interlocks together like that. And we have two more of these pins with toe balls. Put those on there, make sure they both go on the same direction. You don't want one to be 90 degrees different from it. So you can see when it turns, slowly turns it because we're turning that worm gear. All right, we have another one of these pieces. This is kind of like our stop. It stops the thing from turning too far. Right, got this black lift arm. Oops, it doesn't go there. It goes here. Two of the non-friction pins. That goes there. So we're making a pretty compact sub build. Another friction pin, a piece here, and then this will all line up, go together like that. Next we have some claw pieces to make. rubber pieces. And we have a sticker that's going to go on here. Sticker number 13. It's just one of those little warning stripe stickers. So that will go there. We have another one of the claw pieces for the other side. Oh, and I forgot to put a little piece with the toe ball on there. All right. Another one of the rubber pieces. Let's get sticker 11. That will go right there. Lift arm. And we have two more. I'm going to put some stickers on them. Go there. And we have these little linkage pieces. So these clip onto the toe balls, just like that. Kind of universal, they go both ways, so it doesn't matter which way you put it on. And then, once again, kind of test it, make sure everything works. That's in the fully open position, and then you can rotate it down like that. So this will connect to the universal joint. Let's stick it out there. And create a little piece to hopefully connect it all together. Goes there. This piece will slide all the way in here. This axle, another connector. Another connector there. Kind of jump into the next instruction book. Wait a minute. That was kind of weird. So they continue it to the next book. Okay, so this will go there, right there. Bring this guy down. Connect it right there. Okay. So we've kind of created this little lever that will lift the pieces up. Okay, that will hold it on a little bit better too. It's very subtle, but it works. All right, so we have this panel piece. We're going to begin with. We're getting really close to being done with this. The main functions are basically built now. So really all that's left is some body work. So this is the first panel we're going to be putting on. It has some lights on it. Turn it around, sticker number 10. This will go all the way down here. So once again, another little warning stripe sticker. rotate this back around. Shows this hole going into this axle, and then a friction pin hole going in up here. Rotate this around, we basically have the same little module to build that we put on the other one. This lines up here. Not like that. Let's take that off, reverse it. There we go. So we got everything to line up just the way it's supposed to. Another one of these 5 long lift arms. We have the next body panel. Have our lights. That hit the floor, it's gone forever. They usually give you an extra one, so I'm not even gonna try to find it. Turn it around, sticker number 5 is right here. Goes there. Just like the other side, line that up with the axle and the friction pin. That looks good. So you can kind of see now this piece, how it lifts up and down. And then we have our claw piece over here. So I'm turning this little gear over here. That's what that little sticker is. It's telling you how to open and close the little gripper hand. So like I said, the functions are pretty much done. We're just building the rest of the body work. So next is the cabin area where the operator will be driving the vehicle. This goes there, 2 more friction pins. I have 2 more pins with studs on them. And we have these blue bent lift arms. And these usually represent the seat inside of any type of vehicle. So that goes there. We have a 1x4 tile. Goes there with a sticker, sticker number 9. Just like that. This will be the top of the cabin area. Piece, this little axle joiner piece. That'll go there. Friction pin on this. This will go right here. Another pin with a stud. Got this orange light. Those are sometimes hard to put on, but looks like I was able to get it in there. Next is another one of these pieces. We have 2 thin or half bushings right there. This is an axle with a stop. So you see it's got that flat part on the end. That's what stops it from going all the way through. That'll go there. And this will slide all the way through that. Put another half bushing on here. And this other thin lift arm will line up just like that. So bring this over, this yellow piece. Oops, sorry, bumping the camera. This piece will somehow line up in there as we push these pieces onto all these friction pins that are on there. Okay, looks good to me. All right, so this whole piece line up all the way back there, and then we take another one of these lift arms and sandwich all that in between the 2 lift arms. So that looks good. Those, another thin lift arm, or bent lift arm. We know we're getting close when we're running out of parts. Pretty much everything is diminishing pretty quickly here. So this piece will line up down there and then attach back there. There's our little exhaust piece. And it just hangs out facing backwards like that. 2 more of these parts here. That will go there. And we have this bent left arm that will line up with all these pins. Attach there. This piece will go right there. And that. Turn this around and this will line up with everything over here. Alright, so it looks like we're going to create a rear bumper slash engine cover. The last two of these pieces. Get a pin with a stud and a trans red stud on there. Our last 2 3-long friction pins. 2 panels. Slide onto those friction pins, and those are making some weird noises sliding on there. Right, we have that piece. Last 2 of these elements. And we have a lot of stickers. Sticker number 3. Go right there. Sticker number 1. Sticker 2 on this side. And sticker 4. All right. So this fits in between all of those pieces, and we line these pins up and push them down. We have one more of these bent lift arms. That all goes there. All right, so next we're going to create this panel using a lot of these Technic lift arms. And friction pins. I have another sticker, sticker number 12. So that one goes there. This whole piece will just attach right there. So it's truly like body styling only. And then this is interesting. We have a little minifigure sword that we're going to push that bar into the top of this Technic pin. And this will go right there. So we have this little communications antenna back there. Alright, next we have some wheels and tires. These tires came loose in the box. If you've been watching this whole video, you remember when we opened the box. So the tires are real soft and rubbery. So you just have to line up the lip of the tire with the lip of the plastic wheel. But it's actually pretty easy. It's just going all the way around, making sure that's all lined up. All right, last one right here. Okay, so that's our 4 wheels and tires, and you can see the wheels have 2 different looks on each side, and we want this kind of industrial looking portion to be sticking out. So we're going to line the axle hole up with the axles. Make making sure we have the same style sticking out all the way around. So you can see our steering works pretty well. And back here we have this little gear that you can turn for the claw. And we have this piece that raises the whole claw up. Now, what is this claw going to be picking up? Well, we're going to create a little container for it to have something to pick up. So we have these pins and pin joiners, and we have this little half cylinder piece that we're going to attach it like that and create a full cylinder piece. Put some stickers on it. Sticker number 6. It's the same sticker all the way around. So we'll carefully line it up and put it on here. The container actually feels kind of flimsy because there's only one pin holding it together on either side. Oops. There it is. That is our little container, and that uses all of the stickers. So we bring our crane back over, or our loader back over. Let's see, let me open the claw a bit. We roll up on it, kind of steer to position it however you want it, and then we turn the knob, close it, and then lift that up. So you can see the knob I'm turning is this one right here, and it drops it. Turn it again, it's picking it up, and then you lift it up. So that's pretty cool. So the functions, as we saw kind of as we were building it, is our steering. So it's got the steering piece. You can see when I roll the model, our pistons back there are turning, our little fake engine. And then we have the lever to raise and lower the claw, and then we have this gear piece here that will open and close the little gripper piece. There it is. So that is the LEGO Technic Mine Loader. There are your standard extra pieces. We do get an extra minifigure sword if you're into that. And you notice we have this big fan blade, or this big cutting blade. We didn't use this. That is actually for the alternate model. If you remember the back of the box, it has this little mine cutting machine. And it's using that blade on the front to actually be some sort of mechanical cutting device. So that's why we get that big piece, and it's not used in the main model. All right, so thanks for watching. I know this was a long video, and if you made it to the end, let me know. Give me a big thumbs up on this video if you liked it. Also, don't forget to check out all the links. I have links to all of my other LEGO Technic build videos. So if you're into LEGO Technic and you like to see how all of this stuff is built, then that link is for you. Check out all those videos, and we will see you in the next one.